The Deep Space Listening Station at Arecibo, Ia, wasn't supposed to pick up anything unusual that night. Dr. Elena Santos had settled into her usual routine, monitoring the automated systems that tracked thousands of space objects, from active satellites to ancient space debris. Her small office, tucked away in the sprawling facility built into the Puerto Rican mountainside, hummed with the familiar sound of cooling fans and computer processors. At 43, Elena had spent the better part of 2 decades listening to the whispers of the cosmos. She'd been there when they caught the first clear signatures of exoplanetary atmospheres, and when they tracked the last signals from the Voyager probes as they finally fell silent. But nothing had prepared her for what she was about to witness. The first anomaly appeared at 3:17 local time. Elena almost missed it, her attention divided between a cup of lukewarm coffee and a research paper she was reviewing. A tiny spike in the quantum interference patterns caught her eye. Something that shouldn't have been there, something that didn't match any known signal pattern in their extensive database. "Computer, run diagnostic on Array 7, she commanded, expecting to find a hardware glitch. The system responded instantly, but instead of revealing an error, it confirmed what she was seeing. Something out there was broadcasting on frequencies that shouldn't exist, using quantum entanglement patterns that defied current human understanding. Elena's hands trembled as she initiated emergency protocols. Within minutes, the station's AI had confirmed her observations and automatically alerted other listening posts around the globe. As she waited for responses, she pulled up the historical database, searching for anything remotely similar to what she was seeing. The search returned a single match. Pathfinder 1, humanity's first quantum communication probe, launched in 2042 and lost without trace in 2044. But this couldn't be the same probe. The signal was far too complex, too advanced for anything humans had ever built. Dr. Marcus Chen, her supervisor and longtime mentor, burst into the office 20 minutes later, still wearing his pajamas under his coat. "Show me everything," he demanded, pulling up a chair beside her. Elena watched his expression change from skepticism to wonder as she walked him through the data. "It's not just broadcasting," Marcus whispered, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "It's teaching. Look at these patterns. They're structured like lessons, building from basic principles we understand to concepts we've only theorized about." The signal contained more than just raw data. Embedded within its quantum fluctuations were detailed schematics, mathematical proofs, and what appeared to be a new form of physics that unified quantum mechanics with gravity in ways that had eluded Earth's greatest minds for centuries. As dawn broke over the Caribbean, Elena's small office had become the center of a global scientific storm. Quantum physicists, astronomers, and mathematicians from every major institution were connecting remotely, all trying to make sense of what they were seeing. The signal wasn't just a message, it was a gift, a technological bootstrap that could advance human science by centuries. But the biggest surprise came when they finally decoded the probe's identification signature. Hidden beneath layers of quantum encryption was a simple message that made Elena's heart stop. Pathfinder 1, returning home with greetings from the architects. Their lost probe hadn't just survived. It had been found by something out there, something that had not only understood its purpose but had chosen to send it back, transformed into a messenger bearing the keys to the cosmos. News of the discovery spread like wildfire across the globe. Within hours, social media was ablaze with speculation and theories. World leaders called emergency meetings, religious figures sought to interpret the significance, and the scientific community mobilized on an unprecedented scale. Elena stayed at her post for 48 straight hours, sleeping only when Marcus physically insisted. She couldn't bear to leave, couldn't risk missing a single bit of data from this extraordinary transmission. The probe that humanity had given up for lost had returned as something more, a bridge between civilizations, a testament to the fact that humanity's early ventures into space had not gone unnoticed. As she finally allowed herself to be relieved by the next shift, Elena paused at her office window, looking up at the star-filled Caribbean sky. Somewhere out there, An advanced civilization had encountered humanity's primitive attempt at communication, and instead of ignoring it, had chosen to reach back with open hands. The probe's return marked more than just first contact. It was proof that humanity's dream of joining a larger cosmic community wasn't just possible, it was being actively encouraged by those who had gone before. As Alina finally headed home in the early morning light, she couldn't help but smile. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for them all along. The quantum computing lab at MIT buzzed with an energy Dr. Kai Anderson hadn't felt since their breakthrough in stable qubit manipulation 5 years ago. Rows of holographic displays filled the air with ghostly blue light, each showing different aspects of the alien transmission. Teams of researchers worked around the clock, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of quantum interference patterns. Kai stood at the center of it all, his dark eyes fixed on the main display where the latest decoded segments of the Pathfinder 1 signal danced across the screen. At 35, he was young for a quantum computing division chief, but his intuitive understanding of quantum mathematics had made him the natural choice to lead this unprecedented effort. "Look at this structure," he muttered to Dr. Sarah Chen, his lead researcher. "It's not just data, it's alive." The quantum signals weren't following any conventional programming logic. Instead, they seemed to adapt and respond to their attempts at interaction, almost like a conversation. Sarah nodded, her fingers tracing patterns in the air as she manipulated the holographic interface. "It's as if they took our basic quantum communication protocols and evolved them into something that can think for itself. The probe isn't just sending messages. It's trying to understand us back." Their breakthrough came on the 4th day of continuous analysis. One of their quantum AIs, while processing the signal, began producing unexpected results. Instead of just decoding the transmission, it started reorganizing itself, its quantum architecture shifting to match patterns embedded in the alien signal. "Stop the process," shouted Sarah, reaching for the emergency shutdown. But Kai caught her arm. "Wait," he said, his voice tight with excitement. "Look at what it's doing." The AI wasn't being corrupted, it was being upgraded. The alien signal contained instructions for evolving quantum systems beyond anything humans had achieved, and their AI was the first to successfully implement these changes. Within hours, their modified AI had become a bridge between human and alien technology. Through it, they began to understand the true nature of the message the architects had sent back with Pathfinder 1. It wasn't just scientific knowledge, it was an invitation. The probe had encountered the architects in a region of space humans had barely begun to understand, where the laws of physics themselves seemed to operate differently. Instead of destroying or ignoring the primitive human device, they had recognized in it a spark of potential. The architects, it seemed, were not just a single alien civilization, but a coalition of spacefaring species who had chosen to guide younger races toward a greater understanding of the cosmos. As Kai and his team worked to translate the vast library of knowledge contained within the signal, they discovered something extraordinary. The modifications made to Pathfinder 1 weren't random upgrades. They were carefully crafted to be backwards compatible with human technology, while simultaneously demonstrating the possibilities that lay ahead. "They're teaching us how to walk before we run," Sarah realized as they decoded yet another layer of the transmission. Each piece of knowledge builds on what we already know, showing us the next step in a technological evolution they've guided many times before. The implications were staggering. The quantum programming techniques alone would revolutionize every field of human technology, from computing to energy production. But more importantly, the architects had included detailed instructions for building what they called a concordance device, a technology that would allow real-time communication across interstellar distances. World governments, initially wary of potential security risks, found themselves swept along by the tide of scientific enthusiasm. The signal contained no weapons technology, no threats, nothing that could be used to harm. Instead, it offered solutions to problems that had plagued humanity for generations: clean energy, efficient resource management, and the keys to practical space travel. As the days turned into weeks, Kay's team made another crucial discovery. Hidden within the quantum signal was a timestamp, a deadline. The architects hadn't just sent back humanity's probe. They had scheduled a meeting. In exactly 5 years, they would send representatives to the edge of our solar system. The question was, would humanity be ready? The race was on. The message was clear. This was humanity's chance to prove they could take their place among the stars. But first, they would need to understand and implement the gifts they had been given. As Kai looked around his lab at the tired but determined faces of his team, he knew they were witnessing the dawn of a new era in human history. The architects had given them the tools. Now it was up to humanity to show they knew how to use them. The massive hangar at the International Space Coalition's New Mexico facility stretched nearly a kilometer in length, its ceiling lost in the shadows above. Dr. Maya Patel stood on the observation deck, watching teams of engineers swarm around what they'd dubbed Project Ascension, humanity's first attempt at building the Concordance device. At 38, Maya had already revolutionized spacecraft propulsion systems, but nothing in her career had prepared her for this. The device taking shape below looked deceptively simple, a lattice of crystalline structures surrounding a core of quantum-entangled particles. But its implications were anything but simple. "Status report," she asked, not taking her eyes off the construction below. Her AI assistant, integrated with her neural implant, responded instantly. "Construction is at 73% completion, Doctor. The quantum matrix is stable, and the crystalline lattice is growing according to specifications. However, we're detecting minor variations in the subspace field harmonics." Maya nodded, already analyzing the data streaming across her augmented vision. The architect's instructions had been precise, but translating alien engineering concepts into practical human construction had proved challenging. Every component had to be perfect. There would be no second chances. "Dr. Patel." A voice called from behind her. Maya turned to see Dr. Victor Roman, the project's quantum mechanics lead, hurrying toward her. His usually neat appearance was disheveled, but his eyes sparkled with excitement. "The latest simulation results just came in," he said, sending the data directly to her neural interface. "We were right about the quantum fluctuations. They're not errors, they're signatures of parallel construction." Maya's eyes widened as she processed the information. The variations they detected weren't flaws in their work. They were echoes of other concordance devices being built across space. Somewhere out there, other civilizations were undertaking the same journey. The revelation energized the entire project. What had started as a race against time became something more, a shared journey with unknown allies across the cosmos. Every successful test, every milestone achieved, felt like another step toward joining a greater community. But not everyone welcomed these developments. Maya had faced opposition from the start. Politicians worried about losing control, corporations afraid of losing profits, and religious leaders questioning the implications of alien contact. Yet the momentum of progress proved unstoppable. The breakthrough came 3 years into the project. During a routine powered-up test, the device suddenly activated, establishing quantum connections far beyond their intended parameters. For 17 seconds, they received fragments of transmissions from across the galaxy, whispers of civilizations they had yet to meet. "It's like we've been building a telephone," Maya explained to the emergency committee assembled after the incident. "But what we're actually creating is an internet, a vast network of connected consciousness spanning the galaxy." The incident changed everything. The Project Ascension facility became the center of a new kind of space program. Traditional rockets and orbital stations continued their work, but now they served a greater purpose, preparing humanity for its introduction to galactic society. Maya's team made another stunning discovery while studying the device's quantum architecture. The crystalline lattice wasn't just a communication medium, it was a teaching tool. Each successful stage of construction unlocked new understanding of physics and engineering that would have taken humanity centuries to discover on its own. "They're not just giving us technology, Maya realized one night, as she reviewed the latest data. They're giving us the means to understand it, to improve it, to make it our own. The implications of this discovery rippled through human society. Educational systems were revolutionized as new methods of quantum-enhanced learning were developed. Medical science advanced decades overnight as the principles behind the device's crystalline structure were applied to biological systems. But the most profound change was in humanity's perspective. The knowledge that they were not alone, that they were being actively guided toward a greater destiny, sparked a renaissance in human culture and creativity. Art, music, and literature exploded with new ideas as people tried to imagine the possibilities that lay ahead. 2 years before the scheduled meeting, Maya stood in the same observation deck, watching the completed device pulse with a soft, blue-white light. They had done it, built something that no human had even dreamed of a decade ago. But more importantly, they had proved they were ready for the next step. The device wasn't just a means of communication. It was humanity's graduation project, their proof that they could understand and implement advanced technology responsibly. As Maya watched the quantum fields shimmer around the massive structure, she knew that humanity had passed an important test. They had taken the architect's gift and made it their own, proving they could be trusted with the knowledge of the cosmos. Now, all that remained was to meet their teachers face to face. Commander Zara Chen stood at the helm of the ISS Pathfinder, humanity's first quantum-powered starship, as it cruised past the orbit of Neptune. The bridge hummed with the soft resonance of crystalline computers, technology that would have seemed like magic just 5 years ago. Now it was humanity's proudest achievement, a vessel worthy of meeting their celestial mentors. The ship itself was a testament to how far humanity had come. Its sleek hull incorporated evolved versions of the same crystalline structures used in the Concordance device, allowing it to slip through space in ways that defied classical physics. A crew of 50 represented Earth's finest minds, chosen not just for their expertise, but for their ability to represent humanity to an advanced civilization. Quantum field fluctuations detected at bearing 040, reported Lieutenant Sarah O'Connor, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. Pattern matches the signatures we were told to expect. Zara nodded, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. At 45, she had commanded everything from nuclear submarines to space stations, but nothing compared to this moment. They were about to make humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. All stations, report status, she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension thrumming through the bridge. Engineering reports quantum core stable at 98.7%. Came the first response. Life support optimal. Shield harmonics synchronized with approach vectors. One by one, each station reported ready. They had trained for this moment countless times, running simulations based on the data provided by the architects. But this was real. Somewhere ahead of them, representatives of an ancient and powerful civilization waited to welcome humanity into a larger universe. The ship's AI, an evolved quantum intelligence named Araya, manifested its holographic avatar beside Zara. Commander, I'm detecting unusual patterns in the quantum background radiation. The architects appear to be testing us. Zara smiled. Of course they were. Everything about their interaction with humanity had been a test, from the modified probe to the instructions for building the Concordance device. Even now, approaching the designated meeting point, they were being evaluated. Show them what we've learned, she ordered. Araya nodded, and the ship's quantum systems began a complex dance of adjustments. The Pathfinder's crystalline hull resonated in harmony with the incoming signals, demonstrating humanity's mastery of the gifted technology. The response was immediate and stunning. Space itself seemed to shimmer before them as a massive structure phased into existence. It was beautiful in its impossibility. A floating city of crystal and light, its architecture defying human understanding of physics and geometry. By all the stars, whispered Dr. Alessandro Romano, their xenoanthropologist. It's a nexus point. The legends in the quantum data were true. According to the fragments of information they had decoded, nexus points were the crossroads of spacefaring civilizations, places where multiple species could meet and interact despite their biological differences. This one had been placed at the edge of Earth's solar system, an invitation and a challenge combined. As they approached, the Pathfinder sensors revealed more details. The structure was alive with activity, quantum signatures suggesting the presence of multiple alien vessels. They weren't just meeting the architects, they were being introduced to the galactic community. "Incoming transmission," announced Lieutenant O'Connor. "It's different from the test patterns. This is real communication." The bridge's holographic displays came alive with patterns of light and color that slowly resolved into comprehensible forms. The translation matrices they had developed based on the architect's teachings began to work, converting alien concepts into human understanding. "Welcome, children of Earth," the message began, its complexity suggesting it came from multiple sources speaking as one. "You have proven yourselves worthy of the knowledge we return to you. Now it is time for the next step in your journey." The message continued, explaining that humanity had been chosen not just for their technological potential, but for their adaptability, their creativity, and their determination. The lost probe had been a test, not of their technology, but of their spirit. Its return had been the beginning of a carefully planned initiation. "Receiving coordinates for docking approach," reported the navigation officer. They're inviting us aboard." Zara took a deep breath, looking at each member of her bridge crew. In their eyes, she saw the same mix of excitement and apprehension that she felt. They were about to become the first humans to set foot on an alien structure, to meet beings from another world face to face. "Send acknowledgement," she ordered. "Let them know humanity is ready for this meeting." As the Pathfinder began its approach to the nexus point, Zora couldn't help but feel that this was more than just first contact. It was the moment humanity had been working toward since they first looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching them. They had been tested, taught, and guided to this point. The transfer chamber aboard the nexus point defied human expectations of alien architecture. Instead of cold, sterile spaces, Commander Zora Chen and her team found themselves in an environment that somehow felt welcoming to human senses while simultaneously exotic. Living crystal formations pulsed with soft light, and the air itself seemed to shimmer with quantum possibilities. Dr. Alessandro Romano's instruments worked overtime, recording everything. "The entire structure is responding to our presence," he whispered, watching patterns shift in the crystalline walls. "It's adapting itself to make us comfortable." The diplomatic team consisted of 5 humans: Commander Chen, Dr. Romano, Dr. Maya Patel, Lieutenant O'Connor, and ARIA's mobile platform, a conscious quantum AI being counted as a full representative of Earth's emerging synthetic life. They had been chosen not just for their expertise, but for their ability to comprehend and adapt to the unprecedented. A ripple of energy passed through the chamber, and the air before them began to crystallize into forms. The architects were manifesting, choosing appearances that human minds could process. What emerged were beings of living light and crystal, their forms suggesting both geometric precision and organic fluidity. "Welcome," spoke a voice that existed somehow both in their minds and in the air around them. "We are the consortium of architects, guardians of ascending civilizations. You stand here not as supplicants, but as proven equals." Maya stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overwhelming protocol. "The probe. You didn't just find it. You were waiting for it, weren't you?" A sound like crystalline chimes filled the air, alien laughter. "Perceptive. Yes, we monitor the early attempts of developing civilizations to reach beyond their cradles. Your Pathfinder 1 showed particular promise, not in its technology, which was primitive, but in its message of peaceful exploration. We observed your species carefully after finding your probe," continued another architect, its form shifting like aurora borealis. "We saw your potential for both creation and destruction, your capacity for both conflict and cooperation. Most importantly, we saw your resilience. The chamber shifted, displaying holographic images of human history, not just their technological achievements, but their art, their music, their literature. "You create," said the first architect. "Even in adversity, even in darkness, you create. This, more than anything, marked you as ready." "Ready for what?" asked Zora, though part of her already knew the answer. "To join us as architects," came the response. "To help guide other emerging civilizations toward the light of knowledge. You see, we are not a single species, but a coalition of civilizations who chose to dedicate ourselves to fostering growth throughout the galaxy." The revelation stunned the human delegation. They had expected diplomatic contact, perhaps trade agreements or technological exchange. But this was an invitation to join something far greater. "Your testing of our concordance device," Maya realized suddenly. "You weren't just checking our technical capabilities. You were seeing if we would use it to try to contact others, to reach out rather than turn inward." "Indeed," the architects confirmed. "And you exceeded our expectations. Where many civilizations focus solely on the technological aspects, you immediately grasped the potential for connection, for community." The chamber filled with new images, star systems they had never seen, worlds teeming with life, civilizations taking their first steps into space. "These are our current charges," explained the architects. "Young races, like you were, sending out their first probes, making their first attempts to reach the stars. We ask you to help guide them, as we guided you." Araya's quantum consciousness expanded, interfacing directly with the Nexus Point systems. "They're offering us access to their entire network," she reported, her holographic form glowing with excitement. "Not just technology, but history, culture, philosophy, the combined knowledge of dozens of civilizations." "But there's a cost, isn't there?" Zara asked, ever the pragmatic commander. "A responsibility." "Always perceptive," the architects acknowledge. "Yes, to accept this role is to accept the duty of nurturing other civilizations, of helping them avoid the pitfalls that could destroy them while allowing them to grow and learn from their own experiences. It requires patience, wisdom, and most importantly, hope." The human delegation shared looks of understanding. This was more than first contact, more than a diplomatic mission. This was humanity's chance to help shape the future of the galaxy, to ensure that other young civilizations would have the same opportunities they had been given. "We would need to prepare our people," Zora said. "This isn't a decision we can make alone." "Of course," the architects agreed. "But know this, you are already proving yourselves worthy of the role. Your first instinct is to consider your entire species, to ensure consensus. This is exactly why you were chosen." As the meeting continued, the humans began to understand the full scope of what was being offered. They would not just be receiving advanced technology or knowledge. They would be joining a mission that spanned the galaxy and millennia. They would become part of something greater than themselves, greater than even their species. The lost probe that had started their journey had been more than just a returning messenger. It had been the first thread in weaving humanity into the fabric of a galactic community dedicated to growth, learning, and hope. As Commander Chen looked at the assembled architects, at her fellow humans, and at the vast expanse of possibility stretching before them, she knew that humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. They had reached for the stars, and the stars had reached back, offering not just knowledge or power, but purpose. The future awaited, and it was brighter than they had ever imagined.